The workbench is coming along quite nicely. In the last set of videos, we focused on getting this end cap installed on our workbench. This week, we're going to be focusing on finishing off this workbench by installing the big dovetail and the tail vise. The tail vise that we're using for this project isn't actually a tail vise at all, it's in fact a press vise. So you would usually be using this for something like a veneer press. What that means for our build is that there will be a little bit of modification to this vise. So we'll have to change the foot a little bit, and we also have to do some mods to our workbench to accompany it. But before we get into all of that, let's actually turn our attention onto getting this dovetail cut. To do the marking out of our dovetail, we want our end cap to be cut down to its final length. So to do that, I've got the end cap secured onto my workbench already. So I've used my lag bolts here, but you could just use clamps or something like that. And then we also want to clamp on our dog hole strip, which is this second strip here, and our dovetail strip, so the strip that's about to get the dovetail cut. And from there, with a sharp pencil and a combination square, we just want to mark on our end cap how long we need to cut this. Now, while we have this all set up, we might as well also mark the location of the end of the dovetail, so the thickness of the dovetail. So to do that, we just put our sharp knife in the lamination seam between the dovetail strip and the dog hole strip, and we just draw that line as well. Okay, to mark out this dovetail, it's fairly simple. The first thing we want to do is mark sort of the shoulder of the dovetail, or the length of the dovetail. So to do that, we take our marking gauge and we set it to the same, just a tiny bit longer than the width of our end cap. So with our gauge set, we'll then just scribe a line on all four faces of our. To mark out the rest of the dovetail, you just need an adjustable square. Now, according to my plans, I believe I've said that you should come in 10 millimeters from the end of the dovetail here, and 20 millimeters from the shoulder of the dovetail. And now we just connect from that line to that line here. Okay, well, there's a lot of ways that we could actually cut these dovetails. Now I'm going to show you two ways today. One being the method that I prefer because it's a little bit more fail-safe and it doesn't rely on that hand-eye coordination that traditional dovetails do. And that is using the bandsaw. And the second method is using a handsaw to actually cut it out. Okay, so to cut this dovetail using the bandsaw, you need two things really. The first thing is a bandsaw. The second thing you need is a simple jig like this. So this is nothing more than a piece of MDF which has had the same angle cut into it as our dovetail. So if we lay that next to our dovetail, you can see that this line and this line is actually parallel to one another. So what this jig does is it acts as a secondary fence. So we position the bandsaw's fence so that the blade is cutting right on our knife line when the jig is installed. We then flip the workpiece 180 degrees, and without readjusting the fence, we cut the other side of the dovetail. Now, to actually cut the shoulder of this dovetail, you could do it over at the bandsaw as well, but to me, it's just as easy and faster to cut it by hand. So we've got a knife line already from our marking knife. So all I'm going to do is create a little bit of a V notch in there. I'm just going to take my time and make sure that I am cutting nice and square to the board. So with the dovetail cut, now we just have to transfer that onto our end cap so we can cut the pins. So I've marked my end cap with masking tape here just so you can see it a little bit easier. And all we have to do, I'll try to get it on an angle that's good for the camera. All we have to do is line up the end cap with the shoulder, so this edge of the end cap with this shoulder, and then hold it really tight to the actual dovetail. Now, you can use a sharp pencil, or even better is a mechanical pencil to transfer these lines, but I prefer a marking knife. Okay, so to cut the pins, all we have to do is remove this material in the middle here. Okay, so I've tilted the angle of my bandsaw's table to match the angle of our actual pin. And now I have the table tilted the other way, and I'll cut the other side of the pin. So now I'm just making multiple cuts to the scribed line here to make it easier to remove this material with a chisel. So let's test out the fit. Now this is the first time testing it, so it is possible this bit of footage is going to get deleted if it's terrible. Not too bad at all. Well, there we have it, one big ass dovetail. Or should I say one big dovetail. Okay, so with the dovetail now done, it means we can actually start working on the tail vise, and that's what we're going to start doing tomorrow. So we've got to do a little bit of conversion to this. So we've got to grind a little bit down, put some holes in the foot here and things like that. And we've also got to come up with a little bit of a track system so the actual the sliding block doesn't just wobble around. So we've got a pretty simple solution to that. So make sure you check that out in the next video. Now, if you've enjoyed this series and you've liked this video, leave a comment below, give me a thumbs up in the section there, and also subscribe. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm doing several videos a week while I build this workbench, and once this bench is done, it's going to be one video per week after then. So if you don't want to miss out on any of the content I produce, make sure you do subscribe. I'm also on Facebook, so head over to facebook.com/JordsWoodShop and like that page, because I put a lot of sort of pictures and things from behind the scenes, I guess you could say, and that's often a couple of days before you see anything in the video. So head over to Facebook if you're on Facebook and like that page and say g'day and all that sort of stuff, and that would be much appreciated. Anyway, I'm going to get on to installing this vise, so I'll see you in the next video.